Well, Philadelphia's top prosecutor is considered a national role model for criminal justice reform, despite criticism of his progressive agenda. District Attorney Larry Krasner made it a priority to investigate problematic convictions when he took office last year. In just 19 months, 9 people, some serving life sentences, have been exonerated. He also fired 31 people to clean up the DA's office. National correspondent Jericka Duncan talked to him about reforming the culture. She also met 3 men who were recently exonerated. Jericka, what was it like hearing their stories?
Maria Elena, it was very powerful. I spoke with 3 men who together spent nearly 74 years in prison for crimes they say they did not commit. In some cases, prosecutors or police knew the entire time that they were innocent and did nothing. Well, now a progressive district attorney is changing that. And as we learned, those who are benefiting from those changes are in disbelief that they're finally free.
I spent 27 years and 11 months in prison.
I did 21 years, 5 months, 5 days.
I spent approximately 24 years in prison.
Before the night was over, I was being charged with murder.
Chester HOLLMAN.
I was a juvenile lifer.
Terrence Lewis.
I initially turned myself into.
And Johnny Berry have always maintained their innocence. And now the court system agrees, overturning their convictions for second-degree murder, robbery, and conspiracy. All of them now in their 40s have been exonerated.
Physically, I'm free, but there's just a lot of emotional things that I'm dealing with. I'm trying to find myself.
In July, a judge freed Chester HOLLMAN after prosecutors reopened his case and proved he was innocent of the 1993 murder for which he was serving life in prison. Authorities always had evidence that pointed to other suspects, but that evidence was not disclosed at the time of his conviction.
Each day I've gotten stronger and I'm better.
Johnny, what has this been like for you?
Well, today marks the 1-year anniversary of me being home.
Wow.
I'm still learning how to be free, to be honest with you. It's a learning process.
Personally, I haven't been home not even 90 days. Although I've been happy and I'm grateful, it's definitely been difficult. I have been enslaved mentally as well as physically. I'm still traumatized. This fell upon us. They uprooted our life. And when I say they, meaning the system as a whole.
We really have to do it with statistics.
Philadelphia's District Attorney Larry Krasner wants to correct those wrongs.
The oath is to seek justice. When somebody sits in a jail cell for a crime they did not commit, that is an injustice.
The former public defender assumed the top prosecutor job in 2018.
Okay, you guys are looking for 11 new?
One of his first missions, beef up the Conviction Integrity Unit to investigate legitimate claims of wrongful convictions.
There was a culture at various times of win at all costs. And if that meant that you were going to take the document that suggested there was a different suspect, a document that the Constitution requires you as a prosecutor to turn over to the defense, and you were going to shred it, you did. And then there was a separate issue with certain detectives. And everybody who was in the system knew about it.
In his first week in office, he fired 31 employees.
I did not enjoy it, but it was necessary to do, especially as I see these exonerations happen, and guess whose names just keep coming up for having been involved in convictions of innocent people.
The people you let go.
Yep, that story will be developing. Stay tuned.
What do you say about those ex-prosecutors who still believe that the people who've been exonerated are guilty?
I don't think this is the realm of belief. I think we should be working with facts. The system will always make mistakes, but the kind of prosecutor who is willing to do these things that are illegal and unconstitutional in order to have a win is the kind of prosecutor who's going to say to you, I still believe they're guilty, because they're covering their own tracks.
The straight shooter also says he's determined not to waste court time, jail space, or tax dollars on prosecuting low-level offenses like marijuana possession or petty theft. But when it comes to those issues, Krasner's critics say he's releasing criminals that are likely to commit another crime.
For judges who think or have said you've gone rogue and that you're a group of renegades, how do you respond to that?
Well, first of all, I have huge respect for the judiciary. There's a small portion among them who I think take this personally. When we say what we say, and we're very direct about it, that these policies and the people who were in the DA's office caused mass incarceration.
As for the Conviction Integrity Unit, it's reviewed about 200 cases since Krasner took office.
Conviction integrity is a particularly sticky situation because you are looking back on things that happened in the past, and sometimes you're asking the same judge who has already said no to overturning this conviction to turn it over now based upon additional information.
80-some days ago, I was condemned to die in jail. That was my reality.
Johnny, you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. There are people still remain behind the walls that are actually innocent. When you're innocent and you run across another individual that's innocent,
Your soul connects.
it's a connection. These are my brothers here, and I still got brothers that remain behind the wall, and that hurts.
And while it does hurt, the men say they are not angry. District Attorney Krasner told us the Conviction Integrity Unit actually rejects most of the cases it investigates. So far, it's overturned convictions and only about 4% of the cases that they're looking into. But he, campaigned on this, got 75% of the vote, and said that he wanted to put more resources to this because you look at a system like the criminal justice system, not in just Philadelphia, but across the country, and it's broken.
Part of justice is correcting injustice. If the wrong person's behind bars, do something about it. I think it's a wonderful program.
It's an impressive program.
Let's hope more DAs do that across the country.
Absolutely.
Jericka, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You can hear more of Jericka's conversation with Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner on today's CBS This Morning podcast. You can listen wherever you like to get your podcasts.